Okay, cool. Okay, well, happy Thursday, everybody. Equipment you're gonna need today is just the usual. So 2 pencils of some sort. It could be cooking utensils, forks, your thumbs, whatever is easiest for you to hold. And then your letter ball or a ball-shaped object of some sort. And that's it for that. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type into the chat box. And then once we start to get into the visual and the vestibular work, just being really mindful that you're moving at your own pace. Remember, it's totally normal to get dizzy, even slightly nauseous, watery eyes, red eyes, even like kind of tired eyes. But just know that that's okay, but it also means that you've met your edge. So you want to back off. You can close your eyes, grab some water, take a break. Okay, so let's get going here. Okay, so just coming back to a grounded position, seated or standing. And we're just going to start with a full body shake. Shaking the arms, shaking the legs, shaking the whole body. You can let your tongue go, let your lips go. Okay. And then we'll settle the body down, we'll still the body, and we'll close the eyes. Just dropping into your breath. Maybe today putting one hand on the low belly and one hand on the back. Seeing if you can notice that three-dimensional breath. And as you find a body scan today, I'm going to have you add a hum. So we're going to do a body scan from head to toes, but I want you to add that hum that we normally do later in class. So when you're ready, take an inhale, lips are closed, and exhale. And you're just noticing as you're humming, any vibrations that's creating in your neck, your chest, your back, your throat. Seeing how long you can take that hum all the way to the end of your exhale. How are your hips feeling? Your legs? Your feet? Go ahead and finish that last hum that you're on. Just notice how the body is feeling after that humming. Set your intention for class today. That can be as specific or as general as you'd like. We'll take one more inhale, one more exhale, and we'll open the eyes. Okay. You can leave that one hand on the belly. You're going to take your other hand, and we're just going to go right into a belly rub in a clockwise direction. So we always do this one in clockwise just because it aids with digestion. So this is the direction that the food goes, kind of across the stomach and then down. And noticing if you're feeling any tender parts. Maybe if you get to a tender part, you hold. Take a deep breath into your hand, wherever your hand is. It's natural to have some tenderness through your midline. So in the very, very center of your body, we've got a structure there that basically keeps our superficial layer of abdominals together. So if you feel some extra tenderness there, that's fine, but also just sinking your hands in or rubbing your hands over that area. Okay, go and shake the hands out. Let's just do some bone tracing. So we'll start with the hips using either your knuckles or your thumbs. And you're just going to find that tracing of the hips from the back to the front. And again, just noticing if there's any tenderness there. We have a lot of muscles that attach to the top of the hips, a lot of our oblique and abdominal muscles attach here. So this can also be a tender place for people. Maybe it's more tender for you in your low back where you start that bone trace. Noticing what the shape of your pelvis feels like, how big that is, how broad it might be. And then same thing, but I'm gonna have you come a little bit higher and tracing the outline from the bottom of your ribs to the front. And again, knuckles or thumbs, whatever is more accessible. Seeing if you can stay with nasal breathing here. Just staying with a nice, deep, and slow breath. Do one more, and then shake that out. Okay, good. Let's bring hands to the scalp, giving ourselves a really nice head scratch. If you want to do it slightly different today, this is always one of my favorites, but sometimes it's nice to switch it up. You can take your fingers, kind of more of the pads of your fingers, and leave them on one part of your scalp and then move your hands around. So you're just noticing, is the skin in that area of your scalp movable or does it feel sticky? I think I was saying this last week. So sometimes if you wear a ponytail or something like that, you might find that where you have the ponytail or where you have a clip on your head or even maybe a hairband, that skin and that connective tissue can get kind of stiff in that area. So it's just good to notice, and whether or not you have stuff on your head, we all have parts of our head that are usually more stiff. So it's just nice to see where that is. Okay, shake the hands out again, getting that energy out. Gonna lift my headphones here, grabbing your earlobes. And we're just gonna do gentle circles with the earlobes here. So down, back, and up. I want this to be a gentle tug so that when you feel the tug of your skin pull back on your fingers, or if you're using your knuckles, then that's about as hard as you're going to pull. We don't want to overdo this one. Okay, good. The last thing we're going to do with the face, knuckles to tops of the cheekbones, dragging down towards the lower jaw, letting your jaw go slack. So just thinking of releasing any tension that you're holding in there. And notice how big your jaw goes. Is your jaw only able to open half of an inch? Or when you do this, can you really let the jaw hang maybe a couple inches down? Some people's jaws, whether it's TMJ related or something else related, we hold a lot of tension here. And the jaw doesn't really naturally open because we're clenching, we're grinding the teeth, something like that. Okay, do one more. Good. And again, release that. And just kind of let your jaw be heavy here. I know this might feel kind of ridiculous, but just for the next couple of minutes, let that jaw be heavy. Let some of that tension ease up there and lengthen in through that area. So let that jaw be heavy. And then we're just going to come to our body tapping. Tapping going down the outside of the arm. Let's give the hand either a rub or a scratch. Yep. And then coming up the inside of the arm. Oops. You can use the heel of your palm. You can use your pinky like you're doing more of a karate chop. That one usually kind of feels nice, especially on the top of the shoulders. You can use a soft fist. So you can vary the tool you're using, tool being the shape that your hand is in. And then I want you to pause right at the kind of crease of the armpit. And I just want you to give that a little rub and a little shake. So just grabbing that area right before you get into the armpit. Let your arm be heavy. and just kind of rubbing and shaking that area, or using your fist in that area, or even doing a little bit of vibration. Yeah, this is where our lung meridian starts. And we also hold a lot of tension here. Okay, switching arms, coming down the outside. I haven't tried using the heel of my palm before, but it feels kind of nice. And then up the inside, do that a few times. Giving the hand a scratch, a rub, waking it up a little bit. And just noticing if you're taking a deep breath, if you're sighing, if you're yawning, if you feel like your body is becoming more grounded, these are all really good signs. These are signs that the body's coming to a more settled and relaxed nervous system. Go ahead and grab that corner of the armpit, kind of in the front. Give it a shake. I'm just using my fingers. You can also use your knuckles if that's more accessible to you. You can also tap and thump on that area if that's more accessible to you. And notice if it's tender, and maybe notice if the sides are different. Okay. And then just kind of sit with that for a sec. You can close your eyes, just notice if anything feels different. And let's get those areas moving before we do some of our leg tapping. So I'm going to have hands together, palms touching out in front. You're going to peel the fingers off of each other if you're able to. So wrists are opening, and then arms are opening, pulling the chest forward and look up. Hold this for a few seconds. Yep. And then give yourself a big hug. Push your mid back into the chair or into the space behind you. Good. Starting from the wrists, pull the wrists back, pull the arms back, pull the chest forward, look up, hold, breathe, and then give yourself a big hug. Round your upper back. And again, wrists to arms to chest, look up and hold, and give yourself a big hug. Let's just do one more of those. Wrists to arms to chest, look up, and then give yourself a big hug. Okay, good. We're just going to find a few elbow circles. So circling the hands around the elbows. For my standing athletes, you can be doing knee circles around the ankles. Trying to keep as much of the sole of your foot on the ground as you can. Everybody go ahead and switch directions with the circles. Yeah, and single arm is totally fine here also. Good. Okay, and then you're going to turn so hands are going to be out in front of you, turning your thumbs down. Palms are facing away from each other now. So kind of the end of what a butterfly stroke would look like. And then you're going to open your arms, come out into a T, and I want you to open the palms up towards the ceiling, and then can you open the palms up behind you? So this is shoulder external rotation, trying to really open up those shoulders, and then bringing the arms in front. My elbows are straight, rolling the shoulders in, thumbs are down, knuckles pointing inwards, and rounding your back. Open the arms, open the shoulders, and then close the shoulders, close the arms in front of you. Yeah. And I want this focus to be more on the shoulders as opposed to the spine. You're going to inhale to open and exhale to close. Inhale to open and exhale, close. Can you pinch the shoulder blades together? Can you roll the shoulder blades away from each other? Pinch together and then roll. Good. And go ahead and shake that out. Okay, good. Let's come into some leg tapping here. So working down the outsides of the legs. I'm using a soft fist to do this. You can give the feet a quick rub and then coming up the insides of the legs. And working through that a few times, down the outsides and up the insides. And if you don't have sensation in your legs, I still want you thinking about what you're feeling. If you're feeling the vibration through your arms, if you're feeling it up through your torso, or asking yourself the question, if I could feel this, what would it feel like? So kind of setting an intention with that. Go ahead and get the tops of your legs like you're drumming on your legs. Get underneath your legs, your hamstrings, drumming, drumming, drumming. Okay, good. Go and relax. Let's finish with the feet. So for those of you that are able to access your feet, I'm going to have you start curling the toes forward and pulling the toes back. Curling the toes forward, pulling the toes back. You're going to do that several times, and then you're going to find the bottle cap twisting of the toes. Okay, so I'll have you work through that. For folks that are just reaching, that can reach their lower leg, I'm going to have you try and do more compressions today. You're going to be doing the same thing that we normally do, working a compression. So using your fist or your hand, whatever you have access to, starting from the ankle, just compressing for a couple seconds, releasing. Move an inch higher. Compress for a couple seconds, release. Move an inch higher. Compress for a couple seconds, release. And you're just going to work your way up the leg. If the lower leg is kind of challenging for you to reach, then you're going to stay on the upper leg, working from the knee to the hip, doing the same thing using a fist, using kind of an open hand butterfly press where the heels of your palm are pressing into your leg. And you're compressing and releasing, working up your leg. And then you would start over, starting at the knee and working up your leg. Okay, so whether you're working on the foot, the lower leg, or the upper leg, just doing it a little different today. We are using compression as opposed to a long stroke. Typically here I have you do a long stroke from bottom to top. And now we're just doing more of a compression from bottom to top. Let's go ahead and switch sides. What's kind of nice about doing the compressions is your tissues act like a sponge here, where when you fill a sponge, you first squeeze it out, and then when you release it, it absorbs all of the water. So our tissues work in a similar way, where we squeeze it, and when we release, all of the blood flow, the nutrients and everything kind of rushes through that area. So it's just another way to bring blood flow, nutrients, lymph into an area by using compression instead of the long stroke. So you're working through the toes, you're working through the lower leg, or you're working through the upper leg right now on that second side. Yeah, and I see people moving through that. Okay, and go ahead and relax. Okay, let's work a little bit more on spinal mobility here. So I'm going to have you take your fists, and however, it doesn't matter which direction your fists are pointing. Mine are just kind of, my thumb is kind of hugging into my side. And I'm taking my fists and I'm putting them at the base of my ribs on either side. And I'm just going to start with a rib translation to the left and to the right. And the reason my fists are here is because they're just guiding me side to side. Sometimes it's nice to have the fist guiding so that you stay in that parallel plane. So ribs and shoulders stay parallel. And then can you bring that movement to a shift forward and back? So my My fists are going to stay in the same position, shifting my ribs forward towards my knees, back towards my chair. So I'm kind of rounding the spine and arcing the spine. And then we connect all 4 of those movements, coming into the full hula hooping the ribs around the pelvis, around the sit bones. Yeah, and then switching direction. And maybe you're just noticing things like, it's harder for me to translate one way than it is the other way. Or I hold my breath when I get to this part of the movement. So you're just noticing what the body's feeling. Okay, good. Coming back to the center, we're going to bring both arms up overhead. We'll interlace the fingers, pressing the palms up. Take a nice dive forward. Inhale at the bottom and exhale, roll up. Good. Leave the arms up, side bend to the left. Side bend right. Come back to the center and roll down. Trying to find that spinal articulation if that's there for you. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, roll up. Side bend left. Side bend right. Yep, back to the center, roll down. Can we start to pick up the speed here? Roll back up. Side bend left. Side bend right. Center, 2 more, roll down, even quicker. Roll up. Side bend left. Side bend right. Center, last one, roll down. Roll up. Side bend left. Side bend right. And then shake out the arms. Okay, nice work, everybody. Let's jump right into some letter ball. Darby's asleep, so hopefully he won't see this. Okay, so grab your ball or ball-shaped object of some sort. For those of you that have been with me for a while, go ahead and just go right into playing with yourself, either moving it around you or throwing it around you. For those of you that are new, I'm going to talk you through this. Okay, so holding the letter ball, you're going to pull it away from your body at any angle that you want to pull it away. Quickly look at the ball, say the first letter or number that you see, and pull it back in. Pull it away from your body at a new angle. Quickly look at the ball, say the first letter number you see, and pull it back in. And if you're just holding, if you're holding like a pencil or a rolled up pair of socks, then I just want your eyes to pinpoint something really precise on that pair of socks or whatever it is that you're holding. So if you don't have letters, it's not a big deal. And you're just moving this around you all the way up, down, behind you, in front of you, at an angle. So working on some eye tracking, working on warming up the eyes towards places where they probably don't normally go. Our eyes usually stay centered in our head. And if you're able to, you can play catch with yourself. So throwing the ball around you, spinning it around you, so your eyes have to work a little bit harder. Yeah. Just gonna watch people here. Oops. Yeah. So good. So for people that are throwing and catching, and I see most of you doing this right, but I just want to give you a reminder. When you catch the ball, I want you to stop it right where you catch it and look at the letter or look at a precise point on the ball instead of just kind of looking straight ahead and playing catch with yourself. So the point is to freeze the ball exactly where it is and to say the first letter or number that you, yeah, that's better. Yeah. And if you've got a ball without numbers, you can always Sharpie letters or numbers onto the ball. If you're doing that, I suggest you do an even number of letters versus numbers, and an even number of vowels versus consonants, and an even number, that's probably not an even amount of odd versus even numbers. because we play with that also. So just a couple tips if you're going to be sharping on some letters and numbers. Okay, I'm going to layer on some brain speed games with this. So every time you catch, let's say you catch a number, I'm going to have you, let's see, I'm going to do the opposite of what I had done last week. For number, you're going to lift the, number, you're going to lift the right side of your body. So that can be either a leg raise, an arm raise, or a shoulder shrug. That's for a number. And for a letter, you're lifting the left side. Letter left, number right. Letter left, number right. Okay, so I want you to make that movement as quick as you can. Again, either a shoulder shrug, an arm raise, or a leg raise. And you're just trying to do that, oops, and make that interpretation as quick as you can. So your brain is having to make a decision, and then your body is having to react to it. Yeah, keep going. Just do a couple more like that, and I'm going to layer on again. Yeah. In fact, I'm not going to layer on, I'm just going to switch it. So your brain has to do a switcheroo. So now every time you catch a number, I want you to lift the left side of your body. And every time you catch a letter, lift the right side of your body. Number left, letter right. Number left, letter right. Yeah, nice work, everybody. Yeah, I see some letter writing going on. Nice, Barbara. Get those letters on there. Yeah, maybe do 10 or so more throws. And remember, you could also throw it off of a wall. You could bounce it off of the ground when you're playing with yourself. Hit it off the ceiling. Playing double hand or single hand. When you've done those 10 or so throws, go ahead and relax. I'm going to have you hold on to the ball. Let's do both hands on the ball. Okay, we're going to start by, coming a little bit more with the visual system. Eyes are going to be on one letter on the ball. Okay, so I'm squishing the ball between both hands. And I'm going to draw a circle with the ball around me fully, down, out to the side, and up. I'm not moving my spine, I'm just moving my shoulders around my spine. The quicker you go, the more this becomes a vestibular movement. For folks that are blind or visually impaired, I want you doing the same thing. You can make it bigger, you can go faster, and you can move your spine more, but I want you doing the same thing where your nose stays lined up with that ball. For everybody else, maybe do 5 to 8 circles in one direction, 5 to 8 circles in another direction. So this is working on something called gaze stabilization, where your eyes are having to track an object as it moves around you. If you get dizzy, slow down or back off, or do a smaller circle. Remember, when we shorten that circle, it also makes it easier for our vestibular system. But if that feels okay for you, you can do another round in both directions. Yeah, again, I say, 5 to 8 just because I don't want to push you past your dizzy zone too much. Okay. When you've done an even-ish number on both sides, we're going to bring the ball out in front of us. Okay. And now we're keeping the eyes locked on the ball For folks who are blind and visually impaired, bear with me for a sec. I'm going to give you something different. We're going to keep eyes locked on the ball, and you're going to turn your head as far to the left as you can, where you can still see that letter or number. And then slowly bring your head back to the center. Turn your head to the right as far as you can, where you can still see that letter or number. Bring your head back to the center. Okay. I want you to keep going, turning the head left, holding for a couple seconds, turning the head right, holding for a couple seconds. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna set you up one more time. I'm gonna have you do about 10 to 20 of those with your head going side to side, 10 to 20 of those with your head going up down. We're working on something called your vestibulo-ocular reflex. This is for your vestibular system. For folks that are blind or visually impaired, we're gonna go right into some spinning. So if you're a standing athlete or you're in a spinny chair or a wheelchair that you can spin, you're going to come right into doing circles. But I'm going to give you something different with the circles. Instead of keeping your head straight, you're going to point your nose down and you're going to do those circles. It surprisingly changes it pretty significantly. Okay, this is only for folks that are blind or visually impaired. For if you're a seated person who's blind or visually impaired, you're gonna cross your arms over your chest. But the same thing, I want your nose to be pointing down the whole time, and you're gonna rock your body around your pelvis as quickly as you can. So kind of like fast hula hoops, but keeping your head down. Take it slow, take it easy. Make sure you do the same number of circles in each direction. And notice if it's easier or harder for you to keep your nose pointed down. Yeah, Julie, that looks good. And Diana, that looks good. Yeah. For everybody else, you're still doing the VOR with the head moving and the ball staying stable right out in front of you. When you've done 10 to 20-ish on each side, yeah, I still have some people spinning, so I'm just gonna give you one more. You're gonna bring your head off at a diagonal. Head goes up and left, head goes down and right. Head goes up and left, head goes down and right, and you stay staring at that ball and do another 10 on each diagonal. For those of you, yeah, for those of you spinning, just again, a reminder, if you've gotten dizzy, definitely take a break, definitely back off, have some water. Closing the eyes helps because it shuts down one of your sensory nervous systems so the body can calm itself again. And if you're new to the spinning, you want to take this really, really slow so we don't overdo it. Okay, good. I still have some people going with the VOR. Maybe come just do a few more of each, whatever variation you're doing. Feel free to put the letter ball down. Okay, that was a lot. That was a lot of visual, a lot of vestibular. So let's come back to the body. Let's grab the elbows, and then you're going to take a nice, slow, easy roll down to the ground. I just want you to stay here for a sec. Just let the weight of your knees or the weight of your spine rest against your knees or rest with gravity. Take a few breaths into the back of your ribs. And then slowly roll yourself back up. Keep your hands grabbing your elbows. Frame your head with your elbows, lifting your chest up to the ceiling. Yeah, and now this time I'm going to have you roll down slightly more on the left side of your body. And when you get all the way down, I want you to take a few breaths into your right ribs. Still grabbing your elbows. And then slowly roll yourself back up. Arms frame the head. If arms framing the head isn't realistic for your shoulders, you can also cross the arms over the chest. And we can stay there the whole time. One more roll down, coming more to the right side.
of your body, rolling down. Breathing into your left ribs. Can you really direct your breath into that area? And then slowly roll yourself back up. Frame the head one more time and lift the chest up. Yeah, good. Go ahead and bring the arms down. Just shake everything out. Good. Let's bring some side to side rocking into this. So arms will be out to your side. Reaching to the left of you. If you're able to, trying to lift your right butt cheek off of the chair, like you just sat in gum, and like you're really just reaching for something as far to your left as you can, and then come back to the center. Yep, shifting to the right, reaching for something to the right, and then back to the center. If you're a standing athlete, I'm just going to have you either do this standing or do this balancing on one leg. So balancing on the leg towards the direction that you're reaching to. Balance and reach. Balance and reach. Eyes and head is going to turn towards the hand that is reaching. Okay, we're going to add a rotation into this. So reaching to your left and then rotating to your left as far back behind you as you can. Yep, and then back to the center. Reach to the right and then rotate to the right. And then back to the center. Same thing with my standing athletes. Reach left, rotate left. So you're kind of spinning around your hip and around your foot. The foot stays planted in the same space though. This just challenges the balance, obviously a little bit more if you're standing. And if you're seating, this is still challenging your seated balance because you're trying to balance on one sit bone, you're off center from your pelvis. So however far you're reaching, this is still challenging your seated balance. Just do one more each side. And last one. Okay, really nice. Okay, we're just gonna do one more thing before we wrap up here. I'm gonna have you grab your 2 pencils. And we're gonna bring a little bit of a little bit of tongue work into this. Gosh, that sounds weird. Okay, those who have been with me know what I'm talking about, but we'll walk through this again. So arms are out to a T. If you've got shoulder issues or that's not realistic for you, your elbows can be bent in towards your side. They don't have to be out into a T. If it's hard for you to hold a pencil in one of your hands, you're just gonna use things on the wall, a painting, a blind behind you. You're going to use objects in the room as your second pencil. So if it's hard for you to hold that second pencil, you've got that option too. Okay, so you're just going to start, you're going to look at the left pencil and you're going to turn to the left. Eyes stay locked on the tip of the pencil and then come back to the center. Lock eyes on the right pencil, rotate right and center. Eyes on left pencil, rotate left and center, and so on. I'm just going to give you another reminder here. This is again working slightly on gaze stabilization. I'm going to layer on. If you got dizzy the first time we did a version of this, go slower. So you don't have to stay at my speed. You can move slower. If you want to make it harder, you're going to move quicker, rotating between the 2 sides. I'm going to bring in the tongue. Okay, so looking at the left pencil, push your tongue into your left cheek, rotate left. I really want that tongue pushing into the cheek. And then come back to the center. Look at right pencil, tongue into the cheek, rotate right, and then center. Tongue into the cheek, left pencil, rotate left. Yep. Tongue into the cheek and rotate. Okay, I'm going to layer on again. Move at whatever speed works for you. Tongue into the upper corner of your left cheek.
Like you've got something in your upper molars there, you're trying to get food out of your teeth, and you're going to rotate in the same direction. And then back to the center. Tongue into the upper corner of the right hand side of your mouth. And then center. So I'm just going to show you. Tongue up high in one corner. Tongue up high in your other corner. Think of almost like you're trying to get your tongue up towards your cheekbone. Yeah. And can we do it without moving our lower jaw? So lower jaw, I want to stay steady. We're just moving the tongue. I'm getting very picky today. Yeah, just do one more each side. So we're working 2 or 3 of our cranial nerves right now that innervate the the floor of our mouth. Again, just good sensory input and good work with that. Yeah, okay. Go and relax. You can set the pencils down. We'll bring the arms up overhead, touching the palms together if you can, and taking a dive forward. Pause again here at the bottom. Find your breath into the back of your ribs. And then slowly roll yourself up. Good. Give yourself a big hug. You can bury your head in between your arms. And I just want you to find a sway side to side with your body. So I'm kind of slumping my upper body, and I'm just finding a sway side to side. If a sway forward and back also feels good for you, some people like to do more of the forward back sway, then you can do that too. I kind of favor the side to side one. You can close your eyes. We're just bringing the nervous system back down again. Nice and slow and easy. And then we'll come back to the center, releasing the arms. We'll close the eyes. Let's create a sandwich with our hands again, low belly to low back. Or if grabbing the low back is hard, you could also just grab the side of your body. Returning back to nasal breathing if you weren't already. Noticing any new sensations in your body. How are your eyes feeling? How is your neck and head feeling? Can you feel your sit bones seated in the chair, or maybe even your feet on the ground? Go ahead and think of one thing you're grateful for today. We'll take one more inhale, one more exhale, and we'll open the eyes. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining. I will stick around for questions if anyone's got questions. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay healthy. Yeah, thank you.